just clarified it. And you see, the loudness of our emotions does not really solve the problem. Because most of the time, Ayub, we have had this problem in this country where we do not stress on the loudness of our reason, but on the loudness of our emotion. The more emotional we become does not change the fact that we did not have a clear-cut strategy in the last demonstration. The more emotional we become does not decipher the fact that our messaging was not clear-cut in the last demonstration. The more emotional we become does not absolve us from the reality that when we said we really want to commemorate the fallen soldiers, we actually did not do it in a manner that was organized. But does that give an excuse to police brutality? It doesn't. Does that give an excuse for the killing of 16 people? It doesn't. But does that is it a fact that we did not message through? Is also a fact. So we must be able to look at things more objectively. And there's something that my brother Chris said, and you know the passion with which Chris speaks is the same passion he voted for this government. Is the same passion he really advocated for the Kenya Kwanza administration, because I've known him for some time. And most of the problem, Ayub, is because every time we go to election, we go as emotional beings. We don't want to give it a stop and reason. And that's why I advocate for, can we be able to be reasonable as a people? Can we be able to look at the facts for what they are, instead of always just being able to say, you know what, let us just ride on this emotion. And there's something he said about everyone wants to blame the other one except government. And I totally agree with him. I would want to add him one more, that we as the people and the citizens also want to blame everyone else except ourselves. We must be able to, that's why I insist that we must be reasonable. We must come back to the background of the government that we complain so madly about. How did it get here? We got here because this government is here, Ayub, not because it was donated to us by Russia, not because it was donated to us by Uganda, but this government is here because we, the people, voted for it and celebrated the win. Okay. The parliamentarians that whose houses we are touching today are the parliamentarians that we voted for. So if there is someone that must be able to have an analytical look first, is ourselves, because we are the first point of entry. Everything that we have today is reflective of us. So the first person we must be able to blame is us. Which kind of people do we actually put out there? And the reason is because every time we get to the ballot, we do what we are trying to do here. We become emotional. And that's why today you have a deputy president, Ayub, who tells you that all members of parliament from Mount Kenya are below average. They are fools. Former deputy president. The former deputy president. Thank you for that correction. The former deputy president tells you that all the members of parliament from Mount Kenya are below average and they are fools. And that is the member of parliament, that is the former deputy president who campaigned for each one of them. You have a former deputy president today, Ayub, who in the last time when we were in the streets, because I was in Azimio, and we were in the streets and we were talking about the cost of living, he told us bluntly that you cannot go there and expect the policeman to come and kiss you. Those were the words of a sitting deputy president. So when the same person comes today to be the highest moral defender of this, it actually doesn't make sense. And for me, and I like the interjection that you actually put, because I wanted to say that I would be able to speak for those in the wilderness, those ones who cannot speak for themselves. I look at the chaos that happened 48 hours ago, Ayub, and I ask myself, supposing the police were not there, this same police that we vilify every day, this same policemen that every time we want to speak about them, want to talk about how they got D's, how they are uneducated, these policemen are our brothers and sisters. They are actually young people. They are youth of this country. So we must be able to actually decipher and say, those ones who are rogue police officers. But we cannot be able to say the whole force is rogue. You look at the example that you gave of Floyd in the United States. They did not vilify the American police force. They vilified that particular individual. When you look at the protesters, the protests that were happening 48 hours ago, the idea of these were government goons and these ones were whoever goons and whatever, it does not help. The conversation we must be able to have is, which direction do we go? And the truth is, we had people who went to the street to demonstrate amicably, peacefully. And we had criminals. The criminals must be called out for who they are. We must stop this idea of trying to give to give criminals some nice tags and say these ones are called government goons, and these ones are called political goons, and these ones are whoever goons, and then try to now have a conversation about is it a goon or a Gen Z. It does not help us. We can only have a conversation about there were protesters and there were criminals. And the criminal elements took advantage of the protest. And that is a fact. And why did they take advantage of the protest? We must be able to understand that part of the reason why this was able to be taken advantage of is the lack of clarity in strategy and in its organization. Every time these demonstrations have had clarity, we have had less interference. But because politicians will want to take political expediency, they will always take advantage of any scenario. So young people must also try. We must try to ensure that everything that we do not end up serving political interests without our will. Because at the end of the day, we are ending up serving a lot of political interest and serving a lot of politicians and making them, as recently I saw them launching a justice commission or something. And this commission is being launched, Ayub,
on TikTok.
This commission is being launched, and remember, it's being launched on the pedestal of the struggles of the young people of this country. But after the struggles of the young people, the people launching it and chairing it is the former Attorney General. It's purely the political class.
And he had all the power and privileges. We are one country.